Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Friday with
Friends.
Carrie, I appreciate you not even going in with the Fridays with Friends to make three people that are not on the same pace.
That's how it goes, right?
Well,
We're just going to go with
so much. Fridays with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market, answer any questions you might have so that we have the opportunity to be your realtor of choice. And Abby and I have brought in Carrie Morgan with Prime Lending today to help talk about a question that we've been getting so much about refinancing.
Yes, we have been getting so many questions on it because everything on the news is like interest rates are at 1%, you know, all of this.
Zero.
Yes. And that just gets us to having so many questions, which is awesome because people are in tune with what's going on in the economy right now. And then we're getting questions about, well, should I refinance? What does that look like? And so we brought Carrie on to be our expert in that field.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. What are you seeing out there, Carrie, right now with refinancing?
A lot of volume, a lot of phone calls, which is great. Like you said, it just shows that people are so in tune to what's going on. And even if interest rates aren't zero, as though that, you know, is what they're announcing on the TV, that people just hear and think, oh, maybe my interest rate is going to be zero because that's what I'm hearing on the news. It at least generates conversation, which has been really great.
Mm-hmm. And I think the key too is that refinancing isn't for everyone, even if the rate is changing or anything like that. So what we created today was 5 questions that when we get questions from our clients, because the reality is we are not loan officers. We are not the bank. That is why we have Carrie. Our job is to help a buyer secure the house. But when it comes to financing needs, that's where a bank, place like Prime Lending can support that, and that's where we're sending our clients to be answering some of these questions. So the questions that we have today are the questions that we are typically getting that we feel like might be really and hopefully really helpful, so that at the end of this, if this is interesting to you or something you want to consider, this is going to prepare you to be having communications with the lenders.
And in normal Friday with Friends fashion, we have a 5-question countdown.
We got to keep some semblance of routine.
Exactly. Exactly. So should we get into them?
Let's do it.
All right, perfect. So the first question to consider, and really just to ask yourself and ask your bank, your lender, Carrie, would be, what is it and what does it mean to refinance my house?
All right, so we're starting with the very basics here. So refinancing, plain and simple, you're you are replacing the current loan that you have. So that might be including your current balance. It might be rolling in a home equity line of credit. Whatever it is, we're going to be taking a new loan balance, and that's going to be your new mortgage. That also could possibly be changing the terms and the rate in which your mortgage is now.
Right. Generally, the term refinance, a lot of people see it as, okay, I'm going to change my rate. I'm going to go from, I bought it a while ago, I'm going to go from a 4.5% down to a 3.5% or something like that. But really, there's so many different things that you can change when it comes to a loan.
Yes. And we're going to get into all those different options in just a few minutes.
Perfect.
In general,
go ahead.
In general, I think it's just replacing the mortgage that you have now with the new one.
Perfect. Okay, so the second question is, why would someone refinance their house? What are you seeing in terms of motivations or goals for a current homeowner to refinance?
Mandy, that is such a great question, because there are so many things that we can do with the refinance. And a lot of times people just think, okay, it's all about the rate. It's all about lowering my rate. It's all about saving interest, which that is. And that, I would say, that's the number one thing that we get phone calls on, especially right now, is, can I lower my interest rate and lower my overall interest that I'll be paying on the loan? But there's so many other things. So I thought it'd be great to maybe just touch on a few of those things. So first is lowering your interest rate, which would lower your overall interest that you'll be paying on the loan. And maybe if you're sticking with the same amortization, you'll be lowering your monthly payments by lowering your interest rate. The other piece of it is, do you want to lower the term? So are you in a 30-year mortgage right now? It's going to take you 30 years to pay off your mortgage. You're going to be paying 30 years of interest or whatever that might be. Right. Would it help to, or would it make sense to go down to a 15-year mortgage and be only paying on your mortgage for 15 years? So that's the most popular.
So that's essentially saying that I don't want to decrease my cash flow. I want to keep the exact same payment, but this will allow me to decrease the number of years that I'm paying that exact same amount.
Absolutely. So right now, if you're in a 30-year mortgage, depending on what your interest rate is, it might not cost you that much more per month to switch over to a 15-year. So let's just say you're increasing your payment by $150, but you're shaving 15 years off your mortgage. So those are things that could be really helpful to look at.
Yeah, I could see that totally being valuable, of course.
Yes. Another big one that I love is consolidating debt. So let's talk about student loans. Let's talk about credit cards. Do you have enough equity in your home where you can do what we call a cash out refinance and consolidate those debts? And instead of paying high interest on those credit cards or student loans, you're rolling those into the equity of your home, and you're paying interest on your mortgage because you've just consolidated all of those other debts. You're paying your overall interest that you're going to be paying on those other debts is going to be a lot lower.
Awesome. What else? I've heard of co-borrowers. Go.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. We'll save my favorite for last, but co-borrowers. Yeah. So maybe when you bought your house, you couldn't qualify on your own for whatever reason, and you had a co-borrower on the loan. In most cases, the only way to remove that co-borrower is to refinance. So right now, you can take advantage of the low rates, and you can also remove that co-borrower off the loan. So that's a great one.
Yes.
And we see that with a lot of potentially like a parent or a family member helps them get the mortgage as a co-borrower, and then they want to go out and live their life. The parents do, but maybe them being on the loan is preventing them from purchasing a home in Florida or a boat, or sorry, I guess I have my mind in summer activity, but it could be preventing them from doing that. So getting them off of the loan would open that up for the co-borrower.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yep. Kind of along those same lines is removing mortgage insurance. So typically you can remove mortgage insurance without doing a refinance, but right now this is a great time to take advantage of the lower rates, and also at the same time possibly removing mortgage insurance, saving you an additional amount of money per month.
Awesome. Let's talk about your favorite one.
My favorite. Okay. All right. My favorite one is we can include renovations into your loan. So whether that is through a cash out refinance like we talked about before, or a renovation refinance, you can roll those costs to renovate into your mortgage. So just an example, it's summer, we're going nowhere. We're probably just hanging out in our backyards. So we're going to talk about possibly adding a pool right into your refinance. And these, I've had a couple clients that have chosen to do this, not just with pools, but with other renovations that they want to do, typically bigger size renovations. And not only are they saving money because they're lowering their interest rate, but they're also including an amazing pool and backyard and oasis right in their backyard. So that's been super great and super exciting to kind of talk through with clients.
And I think
amazing.
I think the key with this is the reality that when you're just like, I need to know if a refinance makes sense for my finances, it's all about why is it important? Because it might not. However, it is a vehicle in which to accomplish something else. We have people where the numbers don't make sense, but they can take their co-borrower off. And so the numbers don't make sense, but it's a great opportunity where even though they're not awesome, they're good enough where they're like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to do that. And especially in the market, the way the market's been the past few years, we've had a lot of buyers who have bought with a co-borrower in order to go non-contingent because they couldn't compete in the market with being contingent. And so in the past few years, we have a lot of borrowers that it's been a recent sale where their interest rate's still pretty good, but to be able to do that now as opposed to in 5 years when we don't know where rates are going to be, but now even though they're a year or two down the road, they're more comfortable and capable of doing that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Great point. Perfect. And that's the question, that we get a lot is why would someone want to refinance? And Carrie, I think that last section was so great because there's so many different reasons. It's not just what's my rate, let's drop it a point. There's so much that can go into it and so many different reasons. But the second question most of the time that we get are, well, what are the costs associated with that? So that would be our question number 3. What costs are associated with refinancing? Are there closing costs, things like that?
Yeah, so of course there's going to be closing costs. Nothing's free anymore, right? So we're going to have closing costs. And I get that question all the time. What are the closing costs? Is there a percentage? And it's really so dependent on what county, what state you're buying, and kind of your loan size and whatnot. So I hate to throw out a percentage of, okay, this is what you can expect. But that is something that we'll take into consideration, and we'll look at, okay, what are the total costs that are associated with the refinance, and how long is it going to take us? And I think I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but how long is it going to take us to recoup those closing costs? Okay. So just, I guess, some of the fees, you're going to have bank fees, insurance, title insurance fees, taxes, lovely state of New York, any state really. So we're going to pay those transfer taxes and whatnot. So just some of the fees that are associated. The bank is required to have an attorney. So there will be not a buyer's attorney fee, but there will be a bank attorney fee associated with the refinance as well.
Got it. Okay. Great.
So we'll dig more into closing costs as we get into it. But number 4, what are the keys that you're looking at when you're helping someone determine if refinancing makes sense? So you kind of hit a little bit on, recouping closing costs, but tell me more about how do you know if it makes sense, or what are the things that we should be, having our clients be looking at when they're considering that?
So again, this is a conversation. This is, what are your goals? And I'm not just looking at, okay, you called me with this goal in mind that you want to lower your interest rate, and it's really, or your payment, and it's only lowering your payment $30. Well, are there other things that are being accomplished during this refinance that makes sense for you? So it's an ongoing conversation of what are your goals and how can we accomplish those through a refinance. So yes, we need to take into consideration the closing costs and the time to recoup those closing costs. If you're not going to be in the house for more than 4 years, let's say, and your time to recoup those costs are 5 years, well, it might not make sense. So we want to take a look at how long you intend to be in your home, how long is it going to take to recoup those costs, and what other goals are we hitting with this refinance? And then we'll say, yes, this makes sense. There's a lot of numbers that I can provide in terms of total interest paid and what this looks like financially for you. So we'll just dig into those numbers, and ultimately, the client can decide, yeah, this makes sense. And this hits, like Mandy said, like you guys said, with the co-borrower. Mom just wants to go buy her house in Florida, and this
with her boat
to do that. Yeah, with her boat. I need a boat too, so maybe she'll take me with her. So it kind of is taking a look and having just a conversation of how can we help you hit those goals.
And one thing I love that you're touching on is everyone has different goals. For a majority of people, it might be, I want to, again, decrease my interest rate, but there could be, they want a pool for their kids, and this is going to be, the numbers might not make perfect sense in how long they're going to live there and things like that, but it makes them happy, and that's what they want to do. And it really comes down to goals. One question I had having rental properties is I've heard that it's more expensive to refinance on investment properties. Is that correct?
Well, in terms of interest rates on investment properties are always going to be higher. So,
okay.
It really all depends, and the terms of investment properties and whatnot are a little bit different than just as they were when you purchased the home. So in terms of more expensive, it all depends. Appraisal requirements might be a little bit different. So again, it goes back to that. Let's have a conversation and see.
A different conversation. Yes. Okay, great.
Yep.
Love it.
So
should we get to number 5?
Let's do it.
All right. Question number 5. What should I do to start the conversation? What would be a good next step for our people watching?
So I think it's really just getting in touch with a lender that you trust, because it's not about, like I said, it's not just about the numbers. You don't want someone to just send you a worksheet and just say, here, this is what a 30-year mortgage looks like. So find a lender that you really trust, that is willing to take some time and go over these things. And I will say lenders are insanely busy with refinances right now. It's been the craziest time. I think I've been in the business about 11 years and it's been the craziest time. So with that said, I think to your point is find someone that you have some kind of relationship, an established relationship already, whether that's the lender who did your original loan or someone's referring you to them, just someone that you can really trust to have those good, deep conversations about your goals.
And I think the key too is going into the conversation with your goals and to say, this is what's important. I know that we have clients who say, my mortgage is X and I need to get it to Y. And if I don't get it to Y, it's not worth it. Or I need to buy a pool. And if it is under this amount, I want to do that. Because think about it, you could spread paying out your pool for 30 years. You know, like there is really getting clear on that before you're even talking to that lender or while you're talking to the lender. And if you're having a lender who's not asking those questions about what your goals are, then make sure you kind of have not necessarily a red flag, but make sure you have someone who's having that conversation with you. Yeah. Because if you're just refinancing and trying to get your interest rate down, you're potentially missing opportunities with other debt, and you want to be making sure you're having that like full circle conversation.
And
Mandy,
we say that.
Such a good point.
Yeah, we say that all the time with our clients. If a house doesn't fit, we're going to be the first one to say, let's consider this. Did you think about this? What did you, let's look at this angle. We're going to be the first ones to kind of challenge those questions sometimes. And we want your loan officers to do the same thing, not just say, here are the stats, this is what you should do, and maybe push you in a direction, really giving you all the information and then letting you, as the client, make that decision.
Love it. Love it.
Awesome. And even before they go into that conversation, Carrie, they should probably have some information laid out so it can help that discussion, right?
Yeah, sure. So I'll get into that in just a second. I think just back to you guys' point about, having goals set when you pick up the phone and call the lender. And that's great. And that makes my job a lot easier. When you have some reason for picking up the phone, you saw something, you heard something, whatever it is, and it kind of narrowed down your thinking to want to call a lender, which is so great. But I also have people that call and say, I don't know, everybody's telling me I need to refinance, and they have no idea. And that's fine too, because that's my job, is to help you figure out, does this make sense? And what are your goals? So there's that wide array of people of, I don't know, I just think that I need to call you to, this is exactly what I want, and we can work with all of that.
Yeah.
Some key pieces of information that I'll need to know, regardless of what your goals are, is kind of what your home value is. And I mean, if you don't know, I know some wonderful people that might be able to give you a great idea. I don't know, they're on the screen. So just an estimated value, just so I have something to work with, that'll help us determine loan to value amounts and whatnot. So we want to know how much your house is worth. Also, the balance on your current mortgage. So that could be just your first mortgage. That could be your first mortgage, and say you have a home equity line of credit. Any liens against your property, I need to know the value or the balance on those. Maybe what your current rate is, that would help. How many months you have left remaining on your mortgage. So all of this information can be found typically on your mortgage statement, other than your value, which I can always look up like on Zillow or something, but let's not talk about how accurate those might be.
See previous Friday with Friends episode in regards to third-party myths.
Yeah, so that's why, yes. So that's why I don't even love using those. So that's why if you reach out to Mandy or Abbey or anyone really on the friend team to just say, we have no idea. I don't know, guys.
One of the projects that we've been working on too within our team is where anyone who has an email address in a home address in our database will get like market snapshots monthly where anything has sold in their neighborhood. So with that intent, the point is you should be able to have, if you are tuned into it, you can have a general feel for what your house is worth, so that when you bring it to the table, you can say, hey, listen, it's somewhere around 200 to 250. It's somewhere, and then we can kind of solidify that. But I think
that's awesome.
The overall message as we kind of close is, if you're considering refinancing, these are the conversations that you should be having with your loan officer. These are the conversations you should be having with anyone involved in this decision making, talking with someone who's a co-borrower, talking with your partner, talking with anyone else that has a financial, investment into your mortgage, to be able to say, what do we want to do? How do we want to take advantage of it? Because the reality is, these rates are historic lows. Like they're so, it's an opportunity that might be a good fit. And hey, it might not be a good fit, and that's good to learn too. But going down this path and exploring this opportunity could really present some opportunity for your finances.
Great. I love that. And we always say, whenever we're talking about buying, selling, investing, it's never too early to start. And I think, Carrie, you probably agree with that. I loved what you said. You could have a very clear path of what you want, or you could not know it all, which is totally okay too. And whether it's buying, selling, refinancing, whatever it might be, always reach out to us, to Carrie, and get the ball rolling on it so we can answer any questions and see if it's a good fit.
I love it. I love it. I love what Mandy said about the opportunities. Just kind of don't miss out. There's so many opportunities right now in the market with real estate, just in general. So I think, like Mandy said, it's a great time to explore different opportunities. So
I love it. I love it. Well, we of course have Carrie Morgan, and we will tag her in this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to her. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can always find us friendonyourside.com or our Facebook page, or literally everywhere you can possibly be. We are there. You can find us. You can find Carrie and carry on this conversation even more. But thanks for tuning in to Friday with Friends. I tried to go fast. It doesn't work. This is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market, to answer any questions you might have. So if you do have any real estate needs, we'd love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice. Thank you again, Carrie Morgan from Prime Lending, for hopping on and providing us with your wisdom about refinancing today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.